Hey everyone, it's Dominic from the Primetime Treasure eBay store and YouTube channel. Welcome back to another video. I want to share with you something really cool that happened yesterday on eBay in which I listed an item for sale and I targeted a specific individual to see if I could get that person to purchase the item from me. Well, within minutes of that person receiving an email from me with a link to the eBay listing in the email, the person purchased the item. So it worked. It was a great feeling. It was really cool. And wanted to make sure that I shared it with you so that you had this technique in mind as a marketing tool that you could use in situations where it's appropriate to do so. What I mean by that is that this is not an item that you can necessarily use in every single situation for every listing that you have, or even for most of the listings. It's actually something you really can only use in very specific situations. But if you go out and purchase enough things, do enough sourcing, you will come up with items like this every once in a while. So let me jump into the listing with you, show you exactly what I had so you could get a better understanding of exactly what I'm talking about and when it may be appropriate to use this type of technique. So what you see here is an item that I purchased at an estate sale as part of a large lot of books and magazines and programs and those sorts of things. And so a lot of paper related materials in part of the purchase. And this here is the Polish Legion of American Veterans Club program, post number 14 in Syracuse, New York. Now, it's not just any program though. It's the first one, the grand opening, numero uno, from October 1939. The date is down below there. It's probably hard for you to see, but it is there. I'm going to show you a couple of other photographs that were part of the listing that I put up online here. I took a picture, obviously, of the front of the book, of the back, of the inner flap. But most importantly, I wanted to make sure that I took a picture of the actual festivities of the day, which included the time. So it's a very nostalgic piece. And adding to that nostalgia is the black and white photograph that you see here, which is of the original members. So, it's just important just strategically when you're doing a listing like this, make sure you turn it for the person also who's looking at it, so they don't have to tilt their head. So you put it like this, but then you also take a separate vantage point of it here. So this is of the original officers and members. And also, I did take a picture of the sons. So the sons are there as well. Now, the reason why that's important is because some of those sons may still be alive. It's possible that they may be out there, looking once in a while for historical items related to this club that they were members of at one point. So, you never know. So it's worth a shot. So you take the pictures, you put them up. Also took some pictures of the vintage advertisements that were inside. So just pretty much give a broad overview of the sorts of things that I think someone might be interested in with regards to this book. The photos, the festivities, the ads, the front, the back, that sort of thing. Now, finding a buyer for this can be tricky because it's such a very niche market for it. We're not only dealing with veterans, we're dealing with Polish veterans, and we're dealing with Polish veterans who lived in Syracuse at some point. Now, one justification for putting an item like this on eBay is that, let's say for sake of argument, that some of these sons are still alive and they may be doing a search for one of these pieces. There's no guarantee that that son is still going to be in Syracuse. That person might be in Michigan, they might be in California, they could be living in another country for all I know at this point. So that's an argument for why you would want to put it on a global marketplace like eBay, even though it's, again, very, very specific in terms of the type of audience that may be looking for it. Now, if you want to get a sense of what the audience is like in general, what's the marketplace like this for in general, then what you want to do is you want to search the completed sold listings on eBay. And you could start very general by doing a search for the Polish Legion of American veterans. Just leave out the word Syracuse for a moment and see what you get with that. If you get a very, very big, you know, response in terms of how many listings show up for that, then you could certainly narrow it down. But as you can see here, we only get 2 listings that show up for the Polish Legion of American Veterans. One is a patch that didn't sell, and the other one is a cookbook that did sell for somewhere between $16 and $17. But this is a very, very different piece from what I have. My piece is much older, but this piece, even though it is still vintage from the 70s, it has a broader appeal to it. One, because it's a cookbook, but two, because it covers the entire state of Wisconsin. So any Polish veteran from Wisconsin who's interested in cooking, that's a much, much broader catchment area than what I have here, which is not a cookbook and it's not from an entire state. It's just for a relatively small city, which is Syracuse, New York. Now, you know, it's one thing to search the completed solds, but then you also want to search what the current marketplace is doing. And so you just do a search of, you know, Polish Legion of American Veterans right now and see what it says. And as you'll see here, there's not a lot listed. There's only 6 items. There's one book there, a couple hats and patches and stuff, and nothing that's really going for a ton of money. I mean, these plaques are going for, you know, about $50, $60, but you know, it doesn't have any comparison to the item that I have. So, you know, coming up for a comp with this is, you know, really impossible because there is no such similar item. In some instances, with a piece like that, you may be tempted to put it up for auction, but again, the marketplace is so narrow for it that it's going to be hard to get enough people that are going to be interested in bidding for an item like that. So this is something I decided to just go out and target someone specifically. And how I did that is I just did a search on Google for the Polish Legion of American Veterans. And sure enough, they do have a website, as you can see there. It's still called Post Number 14. And they have a contact section, and there's an email for the contact person. And so what I did is I contacted the person and I just sent an email saying, hey, you know, I have this item. I thought you'd be interested in it. I put the link to it, described what it was, and the person wrote me back and said, well, I'm definitely interested. How did you know I'd be interested in it? And I explained how I found them. And he said, all right, I'm going to go take a look on eBay and, you know, and check the item out. Within moments, the person sent me an offer. I put the item up for $24.99, and the person offered me $20, and I accepted it. So, you know, I'm fine with making $20 on it. I've already made my profit back from that collection that I purchased. And so, you know, this is, you know, just, you know, I didn't expect this to be any kind of huge money maker anyway, but, you know, I'm more showing this not for the monetary value, but just showing you the marketing strategy for this. You know, could I have priced it higher? Certainly, but, you know, it's interesting that the person didn't just gobble it up at $24.99 and made an offer. So that kind of tells you something a little bit right there. But you know, I'm glad that the person was interested and did want to acquire it, because really one of the things that I like also about the reselling profession and the reselling business is bringing items back to places where they really belong. Now, I wouldn't have a problem, obviously, if somebody who was affiliated with this group wanted to purchase it and, you know, they're living somewhere else right now. But to see this item go back to the actual place where it originated from. Now, they're not at the same building now. They're at a different building. But what I mean is they're going back to, it's going back to home is what I'm saying. And I like that. I think that's really cool. I've done things like that before with other items, and it's just a great feeling to reunite the piece with where it should be. And I did offer, since I do live in Syracuse, New York, to hand deliver the item to the person. That would save me a little bit of money on shipping, but not much because I'd have to drive over there, although it's not too far away. And the person didn't respond to that overture. I'm guessing probably because the person's older, he's in his 70s, and he might be a little worried about some random stranger contacting him, offering him to come over and hand deliver an item to him. So that's fine. I totally respect that, understand that, no problem. I have it all ready to go out in the mail tomorrow. And, so sometime this week he's going to get it and he's going to love it. I gave him a great deal on it, and I'm just glad to see it go home. But, certainly there could be other instances where you target a specific person like this and it's for something that's worth a lot more money. That's just, just depends on the item, but consider it as an option, as something that you can do as a marketing strategy. Don't always feel like your only option is to put an item online and just, kick back and wait for people to come find you, because they're not always necessarily going to find you. This person's eBay account, when I looked at it and I looked at, basically his activity recently, there wasn't a whole lot. I mean, he did have like around 300 feedbacks or so, but, none of those were real recent. I mean, he had two purchases that he made within the last 6 months, but no purchases within the last month. So that's what I mean. If I listed this item, could I assume that that guy is going to go online and do a search for Polish Legion of American Veterans and find my item and purchase it? Now, he may have done that, but chances are that he would not have, and it would have gone 30 days and maybe it didn't sell. So this is just a much quicker way to get it to that person by doing that kind of selective targeting to get at that individual. Now, another approach sometimes that you could use that I've talked about previously is taking an item that might have more broad appeal and sending it to maybe a specific Facebook group that's dedicated to that topic area. So maybe, for example, if you remember when I found that wrestling poster that was a unique piece that I knew based on research should sell for hundreds of dollars, and it wound up selling for 400, I targeted a Facebook group that was specific to that wrestling association, the NWA. And that turned out being helpful because it really generated a lot of interest from that group into that item, and is a part of what I think drove the item up. So it depends on the piece in terms of which marketing strategy you're going to use to promote the item. Of course, you know that there is an eBay service for promoted listings. That costs something though. There's a fee associated with that. You have to pay a percentage to eBay if the items sell. So this approach doesn't cost me anything at all. It won't cost you anything at all. So just keep it in mind as a strategy to use down the road. If you ever use it because you watch this video, please let me know that down below. I love to know and find out when these tips are helping you out, and when you're using them to make money for your business. So with that being said, drop a comment down below if you have a question or anything like that about this approach or other marketing types of questions. I'll be happy to answer them and interact with you. Speaking of interacting, make sure you come to my live show. That's November 7th. It should be the day that you actually see this by the time that I get this video posted. So make sure you come by 9 o'clock at night. There's going to be a lot of interesting things that happen. I'm going to unveil my new moniker. We're going to have my mannequin Cha-Cha in the background, and my wife, Mrs. Primetime, is going to be in the chat, so you can interact with her as well. Plus, I have another very important announcement that I'm going to make. I'm real excited to make it. So there's just going to be lots of things. If you're coming to this video after I've already filmed that live show, then make sure you go check out that live show, because there should be a lot of exciting things that happen there. Make sure you like this video if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm real happy to see these subscription numbers really going up, seeing an explosion in popularity of the channel recently. So that's really fun for me to see. So keep doing that. Also just make sure you come and check out my Facebook group, the Facebook Reselling Resource Center. We're really close to hitting 4,000 members in that group in less than a year. So that just blows me away. Come on over there if you're not a member. Love to see you there. And also make sure you follow me at my Instagram account. That's at Primetime Treasure, prime_time_treasure, no S at the end. I'll see everyone live on November 7th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Take care, everybody.